as you look to the horizon, not a cloud, but then stormy weather's go too cold. Seems like it crept up out of nowhere, all around you. It's not what you foretold. You never see it coming. You see that my mind is too fast for eyes. You're done but the time it hit you, you're not surprised. Think you got your game planned out. Do it deep, get 'em 2 steps ahead, yeah. So step into my way, stand out. It's a trap, one more step, and you're dead. Why just a bit to say goodnight, go with the sky, but now life is like a lost result. It's not an accident.
I made this video to explain the current changes to Starrk, whether it actually got nerfed or not, and if it's still a great partial resurrection. As many of you already know, I've been maining Starrk for a long time, basically ever since Type Soul has released, and I've had the time to master it. After the recent changes, a lot of people immediately called it a nerf, which, well, I totally agree about, but I'll also explain some changes applied to Starrk C can turn out to be helpful. Recently, Cairo, the head balancer, made a poll about Starrk being too good on cycle builds, and after some more time, he made a public stage for balancement suggestions, where he looked at whatever the chat told him was overpowered and needed changes, nerfs or buffs. The moment Starrk got nominated, I immediately got pinged by this guy, saying, "Norza, come defend your res," and I couldn't help but be curious about what changes were yet to be applied, so I joined the voice channel. Well, let's say that people talking about my Starrk specifically, which is a very different way of using it, caught people's attention, which, well, has also happened before with other members of the staff team. What happened was that by all these mentions and by me requesting to get on stage, it actually worked, and eventually I became a speaker along with Cairo, and I asked him what were the changes that he wanted to apply to Starrk. He said that he wanted to remove the second flash step of Starrk Z, which eventually turned out to be the first flash step to be removed, and then got changed again to the second. Then he wanted to increase the cooldown of Z but make it feintable, which, well, kind of already was. Then he said he wanted to change the X by making the hits of the beam pull instead of pushing away, which, I mean, doesn't make much sense, since it wouldn't really even change anything of it. And then I think he mentioned the way Starrk C works, and he wanted to increase windup to not make it appear frame 0, and to let people know that the C was incoming. My reaction was pretty blank. I liked those changes, but I suggested different changes instead, which were: increase Starrk Z's cooldown by 5 or 6, keep the current changes to Z's flash step, and a bittersweet change for me that I suggested, instead of the windup that would change the whole way the C works, which I'll explain it later, was making Starrk C cancel if any move that was stacked after it got parried, because it didn't feel right that people can parry the move after Buster, and with a perfect timing, still get punished for it. Explained how to counter those Buster combos in my 25-minute Starrk guide, but it was still annoyingly hard for even the most competitive players in the game to adapt to the way I suggested. And of course, many others didn't even know the existence of such guide. Another change I suggested was making Confliction go on cooldown whenever Starrk C was used, which nerfed my most popular Starrk Hakuda tech, called Quick Desire, which is pretty much what you've seen multiple times in the background clips. Negation, Starrk C Confliction, Spine Rend, Zero Grab, Starrk Z. The reason why this one specifically required that change was because you didn't have to bother reading the knockback of Starrk C, since Confliction would send forward, and the moment Starrk C made impact with the opponent, it would send always in the same direction, giving a 20% follow-up. But Cairo didn't know what I was talking about, although I asked him if he wanted to see a clip for it. And what I was saying actually got people to tell me I was a humble Starrk user, suggesting nerfs for my own resurrection. So what he changed in the end was, as I said before, the Z cooldown and flash step thingy, and he increased the Starrk C's windup, which makes it appear a bit later and not frame 0. Now, it's true that Starrk was good, and it was great with poke builds such as large Fire Knights or Cupid Bow, both paired with Finger Zero on a Kendo speed build. since you could cycle those moves and repeat, to the point it became meta. And that's just not the way I use Starrk, and I'm glad it got nerfed, because it was unbearable, although they didn't know how to use the C. People thought C was the problem about Starrk, after seeing my guide, and when I hit them with those combos. The truth is, Starrk Z has always been the problem. You just think it was meaningless since it's a beam that appears once in a while and does low damage. Instead, Starrk C is the most complicated move in the game. Reading its knockback alone is a difficult matter. Since it depends by position, you have to know the timer in your head, which can slightly change still based on the position. You must read it before it explodes, and it's even more difficult when it's turning around. But it's not solely a matter of difficulty, because even if you manage to do that, the C can be avoided, slashed, blocked, or parried, and it's a free counter for people who can run away. But it requires some time to learn how to counter it, although the user wouldn't know how to aim and use it properly, as I could have seen. But people do not quite believe me after what I've showed in my YouTube video, and all the things I'm doing daily. But nobody else was ever seen doing those. So basically, Starrk got popular, my guide made a lot of views, and it even reached the higher-ups. But the spammable way of using Starrk Z whenever it got off cooldown, and using the Starrk C with no brain, paired with Finger Zero and Fire Knight weapons, became the meta in ranked, and it just had to get nerfed. I agree. Honestly, I'm glad the Z got nerfed. It had a low cooldown, which got increased to prevent spamming the move, that usually worked as free damage. But why would you increase the windup to C, so it's even more time until it hits you, increasing its pressure, and basically buffing it only for the people who use it in a brainless cycling way? It's like you're telling them, oh, the move stack is incoming, but in case he doesn't have enough time to think what to stack the C with, I'll give him one more second to figure it out before Buster comes out. Instead of making Starrk C cancel if the skill stacked with it gets parried, which completely allows you to ignore Starrk C, I guess. But the question is, did Starrk really get only nerfed? My answer would most likely be yes, it is less effective now, but my way of using Starrk received a few buffs too, if you put it in a certain way. If they thought they only nerfed it, then they're wrong. But it's nothing else than what I expected, because understanding Starrk is much more complicated, and still it doesn't match some other Resurrections level even if mastered, but it did with those extreme cycle builds. What I'm saying is, Cairo buffed one of the most famous techs in my guide, if not the most famous, and the changes applied to the C made it possible for more techs to exist, although a huge amount of them got erased. The tech I'm talking about is one that grabbed a lot of people's attention. Norza Shift. For those who don't know, Norza Shift consists in basically setting up the C, then using Pressure Shift, which makes the C hit the opponent after or during Pressure Shift, which can confirm moves like Zero Grab or Sonata Flow. This tech was already pretty good, but why is it buffed now? I'll explain. Wind-up is basically how much time it takes for a move to process. Increasing wind-up means Starrk C comes out later, which means that it will hit later. Normally, Starrk C used to hit in the middle of Pressure Shift's damage animation, which usually made it so that the opponent would get shadow stunned, something I named and explained in the first 3 or 4 minutes of my guide. Basically, it's when an opponent is standing up, it looks like he can move, but he can only walk and not parry or dodge, as if he's ragdolled by the Starrk C animation still, but he doesn't take knockback, although he's still stunned. By increasing Starrk C's windup, the move now hits almost when Pressure Shift animation ends, making the time to confirm moves through the shadow stun a lot more. You can now confirm Zero Grab or Sonata Flow in an easier way, and even wait a bit before using one of those, which is honestly overpowered on Kendo now, although some people don't even know that this way of using Pressure Shift even exists. Right now, with this Starrk change, C-Flash Fang can confirm Unseen Blade with the right buffer. But even delaying it by only 0.02 seconds makes it untrue, so you basically have to get the right frame on the buffer, or boost it specifically for that tech. And Zero Salvo now confirms Zero Grab and Bala Drive with the help of C. And here's a clip of a friend of mine spamming F key to try and get rid of the shadow stun. Don't ask how my mind knows that this changelog would make this shadow stun more, since the video would be longer than it already is. Now, C Confliction doesn't work anymore out of a parry or, well, in almost every situation, which is good, as well as Dragon's Will, And those changes are alright, although there wasn't a single soul who was able to do those, so I still don't get the point of changing C, and I've always used directly the zero grab variant without spine rend, to not abuse it as a whole, and of course it was a little bit more consistent. Most of the techs still work, but you need to delay your second move a bit more than I already used to, so it's still viable. But why don't I like this change? Z got nerfed the way I wanted, but the C isn't just a matter of windup. The thing is, C is now sometimes literally impossible to read, making it more difficult and sometimes impossible with the exact meaning of it, for me or for whoever that wants to learn how to read the knockback, which was already at the levels of basically beating a bullet hell game with reverted keybinds. The thing is, I played Starrk after this changelog and I felt that something was off. What I ended up acknowledging is that most of the times, it's as if the Starrk C knockback never got changed to match its new windup, which to be honest I already expected considering how much the devs wouldn't even know of this particular. But such thing can really annoy someone who has been focusing on learning the way to read it. Starrk C basically turned from being the most complex thing to learn in game, that you would actually be and feel rewarded if you were to focus on it, from something that you cannot even fully learn anymore, because it's just unpredictable most of the times, in a way that pre-firing moves now isn't even viable anymore. So the reason I could be annoyed is the fact that I would have been fine with solely the fact that its windup is increased, but that changed the whole way the C works and erased any way possible for players to learn it, or to make use of it properly for those who learned it. And even though this currently served as a nerf only for me, I'm actually weirded out by the fact that it's now something you cannot do anything about, even if you wanted to, which made the whole resurrection not exactly bad, but rather boring, and the thing that annoys me the most, which is being brainless. While the rightful changes, which would have been making it cancel if anything gets parried, hasn't even been looked at. And I'll be honest, if that thing gets paired with the current wind-up change, then just rework it at this point and I won't even try to speak with the legacy NPC. I just want to say that, if nowadays you want to play Starrk, then it's more convenient to focus on simply landing the same one or two techs all the time. Swift Blade, which consists in Starrk C, swift slashes into Unseen didn't get nerfed, but it's now weird to read so you just have to delay Unseen Blade a bit more. And I wanted to say that right now, I don't know if I'm as interested as before to maintain my title or keep using the resurrection, knowing that now there's no possibility to use your brain as much as before, because it was something hard, and a lot of players kept saying how my gameplay with Starrk was the funniest thing to see in Soul League because of the difficulty of it. And I still remember hosts having so much fun whenever I did one of my techs, but well, too bad that it became brainless now.
Bro, it doesn't let him follow, bro.
Oh my god!
He did it!
It's the tag! It's the tag!
I think Gehenna is better though.
Oh my! He hit the head!
Oh shit! Oh!
Holy shit!
Oh my
Yo,
god!
he's moving, bro. He's moving.
Yo, Norza's the thing.
Yo, PC check the whole team, bro.
TikTok guy!
Bro.
Just give me something that proves you're not fooling. If this is sorry, just tell me you're the
The C was never God unless used out of something already making the follow-up true, like air negation into C confliction, which still works, but you have to set up the C before negation hits, making it more balanced in this sort of field, at least. Considering how much experience it takes to learn and use Starrk, solely the nerfs applied to Z would have been fine, along with putting a few moves like pressure shift and confliction on cooldown whenever Starrk C was used, and this made me realize how much Type Soul devs have to hear the players' opinions, specifically with something this difficult. I'm going to be completely honest, I've seen nobody be able to land any other tech constantly other than a friend of mine with Norza shift, although it wasn't perfect, and the tech by itself is something that is half confirmed the moment you land pressure shift. The C has been cosmetic for people, but at the same time, they don't really spend time learning how to counter stuff to the point they get parry baited by Starrk Z more than once. Blame the C when they get hit in the most stupid situations. So let's be serious, Starrk was never the problem, if not for the cycle builds. Increasing Z's cooldown and preventing extreme zoning by removing the second flash step is already the biggest nerf you could possibly apply to it. But if you're actually getting parry baited by the second part of Z, or getting hit by a raw C or a simple combo that not even I have seen getting used by others, then don't even blame it on Starrk. That said, the devs probably wouldn't look at this matter or care about what I've said in this video, since for them it doesn't matter if it's brainless or however you want to call it now. The important is that it's nerfed, I guess. But I believe it was not right to change the C this specific way because it closes a lot of possibilities with people I've met that were actually interested on learning the way to use it, but that now are almost stuck in a dead end. That's why reverting the change applied to the C and making it cancel if anything gets parried makes a lot more sense and opens the possibilities that there were before, with what I can proudly say was the hardest element in the game by far, and that I'll never regret maining to the point people started to call it God and make it meta, even if in their own way. We reached the end of this video. Let me know what you think about everything I've said, or if there's anything you don't understand, then feel free to ask in the comments. Thank you for watching.
For the nights like this.